time for Fully Threaded Radio.
You know, another thing that I appreciate about Fully Threaded Radio is they bring topics that are closely related to the fastener industry, but not exactly from the industry. And I'll just give you a couple different items that they've talked about that I maybe was a little bit aware of, but not to the extent until I listened. 3D printing was one of the things, and I remember in an early episode, I think they were interviewing Andy Pells, and they asked him something about what topics do you see affecting the industry next year, and Andy brought up 3D printing. And then they proceeded to talk about it. Another little topic, reshoring initiative with Harry Mosier. I'd never heard of that before they had him on the show. One other thing that I find kind of interesting is, Brian seems to bring up pretty often the fact that Amazon is getting into the fastener industry. They're selling fasteners, and will they impact the marketplace? They just bring topics in that really I don't think get covered by the other news outlets. And Brian having a knack for knowing a little bit about everything in the world, he can always bring in information that I certainly hadn't read, and I'm guessing there's a lot of people that hear Brian talking about these topics and think, it's interesting. I've not read that yet, but he's a very well-read man.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I'm very thankful for Amazon to come on, be more of a force in our world these days, because it got Brian to stop talking about the iPhone or an Android.
Yes, that went on for many episodes.
Many episodes. And what really made me laugh a lot was J.R. Peral put together a accumulation of okay. We can listen to that right now.
Hi everybody, JR with JHP Fasteners here. It's always great hearing from our good friend Brian Musker on Fully Threaded, on the phone, or even in person on those rare occasions. You know that you're always getting the same Brian. He truly is an interesting person, and he's got that distinctive voice. There's one thing I noticed that's kind of funny, so I put together a little montage of our good friend. I think you'll hear what I mean. Okay?
Of this, okay? Your pocket, okay? That's near future, okay? Supply tools better, okay? Of this type, okay? Okay. Right. Okay. There'll be a first for us, okay? And listen, okay? BlackBerry too, okay? We have got that sorted out, okay? Patter of feet, okay? Running across the floor. We will, okay?
It just couldn't be easier.
Of course. Okay?
Remember, Brian, we only tease you because we like you. It's when we stop teasing you, that's when you need to be concerned. In the meantime, this is JR from JHP Fasteners signing off for this week's FTR Comedy Break.
So you're listening to Fully Threaded Radio with John Butler and Marty Nolan. We're discussing the 100th episode of Fully Threaded Radio and the impact that it's had on our industry. Marty, more thoughts?
Yeah, you were bringing up some names earlier on, and I just jotted down a few lines that I take away from Fully Threaded, because I always drive a Buick. I drive into Michigan, and domestic cars are well regarded there, and I've always had luck with the Buick. But right now, a lot of people will look at my car and say, that's not a Buick. And you think, boy, that's some good marketing. That's a catchy line, and you hear that. And I was thinking about Fully Threaded and just different taglines that I think of for them. You mentioned a few, but, every time I hear hydrogen embrittlement, I think of Fully Threaded Radio.
Yeah.
When I hear the rock star, I think of Simi the rock star because of them. And kind of a big deal, you mentioned. Jackie Ventura's kind of a big deal. Who do you think of? You say the lovely and talented.
Lynn Dempsey, there you go.
Of course you do. So every time I hear the lovely and talented, the next two words are Lynn Dempsey. And, and nobody says this, but I still get a kick out of the S is for scrubber. So, there's different taglines that I attribute to the show. And then
right.
others.
And the one that sticks out for me is, that's not a butt and bone. Have you heard that one?
I haven't, but I appreciate the reference. No, and other little silly things, the talk of the Stelfast monkey. Eric has given that a whole nother life beyond the show, and what a
different color.
Right, the anticipation of what the color is going to be. And, I think the radio program has gotten a lot of publicity for a lot of companies in a very entertaining way. And I'm sure they all appreciate it. And I'm sure, they'll be getting a lot of best wishes from some of the people that have listened to and appeared on the radio
Marty,
podcast.
And it never would have been possible if there wasn't people with these catch lines. Supply chain solutions, Trinity Hardware. Service you deserve. People you can trust. Stelfast.
Right.
And by any measure, Lindstrom Group.
And I'm just listening to you. You sound really, your voice, I've known you a while, but you're very familiar to me as another person that I've heard on some radio podcast commercials, too.
Marty.
Can I just ask you this? Are you not very good at bowling?
I have no idea what you're talking about, but I provide solutions. And Solution Industries is a supporter of this show. And so
there you go.
Solution Man.
There you go.
This is JR from JHP Fasteners, the precision fabricators and distributors' #1 source. Come visit us and the Fully Threaded crew on Facebook and Twitter for the latest in fastener news and facts. You're listening to Fully Threaded Radio.